Hi guys, this is Raquel with Paints and Glitter, and I'm coming to you with a quick little project share. I've been using my Cricut design space and a couple of things that I have, different dies and such, to make some quick little gifts, and I just wanted to show you here. This is one finished gift wrapping little, I guess, tag. It is a tag. I used, someone asked me on Facebook. This is from Teddy Bear Parade. So just to let you know, there's a lot of different images from that cartridge that are absolutely adorable. I've been making them. This is the little guy who's holding a candy cane. It's a little bit difficult to see here. Maybe you can zoom in there, but he's holding the candy cane and wearing the little overalls, and then the little elf shoes and hat. Of course you can change the colors, but I just went ahead and went with the colors already shown as the examples. And then I was in a swap and I received some packaging, and I like this little polka dot flower here, so I decided to back them up with that just for the shine. And then this was just a little tag that I cut out with a die, added some twine, and then this back here is actually from an older sheet of cardstock that has a lot of different Christmas images. So what I did was I just cut that out and I backed it with red paper, which I punched the edges using a Martha Stewart punch, and I also glittered it up with this here. I've been using this Nouveau glitter pen, which they're really great because they're not messy and they dry almost instantly, so you get a little bit of shine on your fingers, but nothing crazy. So yeah, I figured that way the recipient can take this off if they want to and use it on another gift or as an ornament. And then the paper is scrapbooking paper, and the band, the little belly band there, is just washi tape. So clean and simple, but still with a little bit of flair. You know, with just the die cut having all of the little intricate bits that I embellished using enamels, so that, and stickles, little black stickles on the nose. So here's another example, for instance, of, I mean, they're so cute. This is one of my favorite cartridges. I try to use it especially during Christmas time because it's very whimsical, and I like to just have fun with that type of thing. And here's another, this I showed yesterday. Where's the rest of it? Oh, it's in here. Okay. I forgot. So this stocking I made by just using white cardstock and red. I wanted to, well, I used the base of white cardstock, and then I stamped it with a background stamp that I absolutely love. It's my go-to stamp there because I like the little hollies, and what I did was I used an enameled dots to make those stand out. And then I used oxide inks on the edges, as you can tell, in the green, and red cardstock that I also distressed with the same color green. And what that did was that it allowed my embossing to stand out a bit. Then of course I ran the whole thing, or just, you know, the edges, through my sewing machine. And to do that, if you've never stitched on paper, it's actually just as easy as stitching on fabric, only you have to just take your time, so that way the paper doesn't slip, because fabric will be gripped by the little feet on the bottom of the sewing machine. If you've ever sewn it, you know what I mean. It's got these little gripper feet on the bottom that feed your fabric. It won't work on paper because paper is too, it doesn't have a weave to it that allows those feet to grip. So you just have to take your time, and but it's quite easy. And what you can do is, here's what I typically do whenever I get the sewing machine out, is I practice with the length of the stitch until I find one that works for me. In this case, I wanted it to be a little bit closer, so I just shortened my stitch. I think I started out with 3 and then ended up with a 2, which is, you know, each machine is a little different. But so yeah, so then up here I used a die to add the snowflake border there on the top. which I fussy cut the edges because it actually cuts a strip, but it doesn't cut the borders. I don't know if that makes sense, but it looks like a long rectangle. So I just cut off the edges to add those little snowflakes back there, and use the enamel dots on the center. The little candy canes that you see here were cut with the Cricut. The 3D bow is from the 3D bows cartridge or something like that, I think it's called. And so that cut out beautifully, and it's my first time, it might be my first time using this bow, I don't remember, I think it is. And then I just added the little bell there, and back here it's a little difficult to see, but I did add holly back there because there is an image in Design Space, if you have access to it or own it, that cuts the holly with the candy canes. In my case, I don't own that image, but I really liked it, so I just recreated it by adding the 2 candy canes to my canvas, and then I just assembled all of those pieces. And then I took a Tim Holtz die and added the greenery because I love this particular type of pine tree. It's quite common in the area where I live, so I just wanted to add that there. And then just a little tag with the "Have yourself a merry little Christmas." So yeah, and in here, this is housing a little package with some tea bags inside. So I slipped that in there, and this was my little, I was joking around saying my little mocha. I had misplaced his little cup there, but then I found him. So there's the little teddy bear wearing his little jumper or sweater that has a teddy bear face on it. It's so minute, but it's so stinking cute. And then he's wearing the little hat with a holly in it, and all of that I used enamels on. And then the little belly band there is also the same washi. And in here I just slipped a few packets of cinnamon tea. So it smells great aside from it being cute, and that'll slip in there very nicely, see, without distorting that. And this is the back. I'll be putting my information back here, which is kind of, you know, it's a good thing I'll be adding my information, I guess, because the stamping didn't come out so great on that, which is fine because it's just, you know, it's just a little stocking, but it's good to be able to use one, you know, whichever side you like the most. And so there's that. I also have been working on some cards and tags and that sort of thing. This is a tag that I made, excuse me, using oxide inks. The blue, of course, is one of my favorites. So I used this particular the die, and I had done this back. If you see one of my videos from Mother's Day, I had done that previously, where I took the die and left the impression on the paper, and then after running that through the paper, excuse me, I still have my cold, and embossing it, I then added the die cut on top. And it's a technique a lot of people like to use because it just adds a little something. And then if you see there that little shine, I added, I painted the paper with, I showed this before also, this holographic, hologram extreme glitter paint. So it's an acrylic paint medium, but you can use it on paper, of course. And then let's see if I can catch that in the light. There we go. So then you can see how it shines. And I added a little bow on top. These were not cut with the Cricut. This is just a collection of dies. And then I stamped it there. And here's a matching card, which what I did here was that I took a die cut that I have that cuts out little hills, and I used that as a mask to add my my oxide ink. And I really love how that turned out because it's just a subtle inking effect, but it adds to the card, gives it depth. And then I used the little reindeer that I'll show you another tag in a moment that I had shown on Facebook, I think. Yes, Facebook before. And then on the background here, I did some embossing, which, see if you can see it. So that paper is embossed, dry embossed, but then I also painted it, or inked it with the oxide ink, and then painted the borders with that same hologram paint. And then I dotted the border of this die frame with enamel dots. And then at the bottom here, I just added a trim to add a little pop of silver to that card. And here's the little tag that I was speaking of, that I had shown online. I was joking around because I found the little nose on my little bag of embellishments, and I thought that was kind of cute, so I went ahead and added that there. And then of course, to match the red, I did the little red and white candy cane striped twine. But here I added glitter to the hills by using Ranger texture paste, and then I also added the same texture paste on the trees and just a little border there to add some shine. And then using that same collection of dies, I created this card with the same little reindeer there. And then on this one, what I did was that I added, I distressed the edges of the paper, all of it, with antique linen distress ink, and then on top of that I added glitter. So it took on, antique linen takes on a little bit of a yellow hue, which I'm not in love with, but it's okay. And then to give it that woodsy effect, instead of, you know, since over here, you know, you can keep it with the snow. I added the little hills with the blue and all that. Over here, what I decided to do was that I used a different embossing folder that looks like wood grain. So that way I could use the red background, or I could have done it in white also, but I just really like that. Yeah, and then this other die is just one with a sentiment, "We wish you a Merry Christmas." And I really like how that turned out. And then up here, I only added the stickles to the star to symbolize the, you know, the star that the shepherds saw when the birth of Christ was being announced. So yeah, I hope you guys have liked this project share. If you have any questions, please let me know. I truly appreciate all of you who have subscribed to my channel this year, who have just encouraged me to keep creating and been so kind and left so many sweet comments. I hope you guys can be inspired and be blessed and have a Merry Christmas. Bye.